this song of instruction was composed by Terchen Barway Dorje in response to the request of the previous Garchen Rinpoche. And the previous Garchen Rinpoche was very close to Terchen Barway Dorje. Of course, Garchen Rinpoche himself is a great lineage holder of the Drikung Kagyu, but he also had a very close relationship with Terchen Barway Dorje. And therefore, in response to his request, this song was offered by Terchen Barway Dorje to Garchen Rinpoche and to his disciples in order to give them instruction in various points connected with the generation and completion stages. I will do my best to explain this song, but I must warn you that I can say with certainty I am not going to be able to explain it 100% perfectly. Starting with the first stanza of the song, it reads, "To all those who aspire to profound yoga, in order to purify the appearances of this life, since your aggregates and elements are always deities, know them to be deities. Bring their clear appearance as such to the path." In the second line of the first stanza, Terchen Barway Dorje addresses the central purpose, the central message of his song. He says, in order to purify the appearances of this life. What are the appearances of this life? The appearances of this life are how we, having been born human beings, perceive reality. And our human perception of ourselves and of the world around us is a result of the karma that caused us to be born as human beings. Because our perception, our appearances, are a result of karmic causes, they are conditioned and incorrect. Our human perception of reality is incorrect and therefore needs to be purified. Well, what is incorrect about it? What needs to be changed? What needs to be purified? In the third line, he writes, "Since your aggregates and elements are always deities, know them to be deities." Generally speaking, as human beings, we do not think of ourselves as pure. We think of ourselves as impure. And when we entertain the idea of pure or awakened beings, wisdom deities, we do so in a very dualistic manner. We think, I am me, I'm impure. Those deities are pure. They are other. They are different. In that way, our dualism, which characterizes all of our thinking and all of our interactions with the world around us, infects even our attitude toward ourselves. Now, we need to examine this. We have the attitude, I am impure, I am imperfect. But we know that what a person consists of, the basis for the imputation of selfhood, is nothing more than the 5 aggregates and the 5 elements. That is all we are. We are made up of the aggregates of form, sensation, perception, thought or mental formation, and consciousness. And our bodies are compounded of space, movement, heat, cohesion, and solidity. That's all we are. So if we are impure, those things must be impure. And by the same logic, if those things are pure, we, who are no more than that, must be pure. So what is the true nature of the 5 aggregates and the 5 elements? The true nature of form, all form, is that it is the Buddha Vairocana. If we don't see it as such, we are not seeing things as they are. The true nature of all sensation, all feeling, is the Buddha Ratnasambhava. The true nature of all perception is the Buddha Amitabha. The true nature of all mental formation is the Buddha Amoghasiddhi. And the true nature of consciousness is the Buddha Akshobhya. The true nature of solidity, or earth, is the female Buddha, Buddhalochana. The true nature of cohesion, or water, is the female Buddha, Mamaki. The true nature of heat, or fire, is the female Buddha, Pandaravasini. The true nature of air, or motility, is the female Buddha, Samayatara. And the true nature of space is the female Buddha, Datishvari. So therefore, our true nature is these deities. So his point is, since your aggregates and elements are always these, whether you know it or not, you might as well know them to be that. They are that. So recognize it. Therefore, in the final line, he says, bring their clear appearance as such to the path. And the first statement in the third stanza is, the nature of an undistracted mind is empty. Now, when we talk about a mind, we recognize that the defining characteristic of a mind is lucidity, the ability to know, to experience, to be aware, to feel, to think, and so on. But when we look at that lucidity itself, when we look at the mind in any state, we discover that it is empty of true existence. We may have the idea, therefore, that that mind is only empty of true existence when we're looking at it, when we are undistracted from recognition of the mind's nature. But that is not the case. Even when we're distracted, the mind is what it is. So he says, a distracted mind is equally empty. Now, of course, we want to be undistracted. Why does he make this point? This point is necessary because most people think that meditation is some act of forced concentration on an object, which is fueled by the hope of getting something, fueled by the hope of finding something special, something extraordinary, something that is not the ordinary mind. But that is not what meditation is at all. Meditation is simply experiencing your mind as it is. And your mind is what it is, regardless of its state. What the mind is, the mind's nature, which is emptiness, and the mind's defining attribute, which is this lucidity. These things are unchanging. So when you recognize that and rest undistracted in that, you experience the mind as it is. But even when you are distracted, the mind has not become something else. You may not be aware of it, but the mind is what it is. He continues, this mind itself, whether distracted or not, is lucidity emptiness. Your mind always retains its defining attribute, which is cognitive lucidity. And the nature of that cognitive lucidity is always emptiness, whether you see it or not, know it or not. Therefore, when we describe the mind, we call it lucidity emptiness. And we need to know that this is so unceasingly. Why? Because as long as we think that the mind is only one way when we see it and not that way when we don't see it, meditation for us will be some kind of struggle, some kind of attempt to force the mind to be something, to try to change the mind. And any hope of altering the mind, of improving upon the mind, is problematic Because along with that hope, you will have the fear of not being able to do so. You will have preference for some mental states over other mental states. About meditation, it is said, the best meditation is simply to rest, relaxed, and undistracted. We can only rest, relaxed, and undistracted when we no longer pick and choose among states of mind. When we recognize that whatever the mind is doing, its nature is unchanging. Therefore, when we recognize that and take that to heart, then we will give up all attempts to alter or change or fix the mind. And only then can we rest free of alteration, free of fabrication, which is what rest, relaxed means.